Hello and welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Feel free to like or dislike the videos as you see fit, so feel free to hit those buttons. Feel free to comment below, and I would appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel and hit your notification bell for more content as it is released. You're also free to share my videos as much as you like, because the purpose of this channel is educational in regards to atheist and deconversion issues and any issues related to those issues. A hearty shout out to the Rabyd Nation. Hit that subscribe button if you want to join the nation, and if you want to buy your citizenship into the Rabyd Nation, just hit that join button and you'll have your options presented. I want to do a little bit of a list here because I want to give a nod and a thanks to secular therapy. But today I want to do kind of a 5 ways the secular therapy helped me where Christianity failed. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to do lists on Monday that are a little bit more personal, but also reflective of Christianity and whatever, but and atheism, of course. And so my issue with a lot of people, as I look at the background of my life, I made a remark to my therapist at my last session that I had made more progress in the last year than I did in my entire time in religion with my personal issues. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I want to share 5 ways in which being in secular therapy and engaging real world stuff, real world psychology, real world neurology, things like that, has helped me get past issues that I struggled with for literally decades while I was a Christian. Okay, and I want to show how that is. And so, number 1, secular therapy helped me recognize that I was possibly autistic, and by going along those autistic routes and making that understanding, I was able to overcome several major blocks and problems. The big thing with me in autism is, do I have any official diagnosis from somebody that does the testing? No. But I have read the test, and I have read a lot of other issues about autism. I've looked at a lot of the data. I've taken all the free tests that they let you have, and every one of them comes back. There's a pretty good chance, 90-95%, that you're somewhere on the autistic scale. I think maybe lightly on the scale, not very far, maybe a little bit more than I think, probably. But for years when I was in the faith, I always felt like the odd duck. I always felt, and this is not just in the faith, just in my life, I always felt like an alien on the wrong planet. Those of you that are autistic will know exactly what I'm talking about, but it helped me understand, okay, that's not because I'm a weirdo, that's because my nervous system doesn't register things the same way everybody else does. And so I look at the world differently, I think about the world differently than other people do, which is, it also reinforces my natural introverted nature and things like that. Once I recognized that it was autism and not some sinful nature or whatever, or God had just created me weird, I began to realize and take a lot of humility in the fact that this is something I can manage. This is something that I can actually do something about. Before, I felt like, God wasn't really doing much to help me. I prayed, why do I feel so weird? Why do I feel so left out? Why do I feel like a stranger in a strange land? The name of one of my favorite books. And it's because of the autism. It's because my nervous system doesn't react to the world around me the same way most people's does. And that's okay. It's okay. And that allowed me to have this revelation of how I could proceed forward with my life. It's helped. Now, do I have an official diagnosis? No. But it's funny how by following this line of thinking, I have made so much progress in a lot of areas of my life. I'm not going to go into all of them. Most of them are personal, but it's this, I have a new strength about it. I now know what the enemy is, okay? And I really shouldn't call it the enemy. I don't think autistic people are damaged, or they're just different, okay? They look at the world different, and they, in many ways, are a great gift to us because they do look at things differently. And so I've come to appreciate, I had autistic kids when I was teaching, and I really appreciated their insight because they didn't look at the issue the same way as everybody else. Most of them were petrified to talk in public, but it was kind of nice. Number two, it helped me recognize how my hypersensitivity, that part of autism, the hypersensitivity part, so affects my moods and my depression and my anxiety. I never realized how much that whole hypersensitivity, I have a lot of different sensory perceptions. I am very sensitive to bright light. When I walk out in a bright sunny day, I literally have to close one eye like that and kind of squint with the other one to even bear it, because otherwise it gives a very extreme, headache, strong reaction. Because of that, people come to my house and think I'm depressed, and I just have the shades drawn because the sunlight bothers my eyes. I also am very hypersensitive to touch in a lot of ways. Okay, and so it makes touch like a really high level sensory experience for me, a very pleasurable one. Okay, in most cases, unless you touch me like unexpectedly, like if somebody comes up behind me, they might get an elbow to the nose if they touch my shoulder. You really have to let me know that you're there. But if I know you're there and I know who you are and I already have a positive relationship, any kind of touch is off the scale, I think, compared to normal people. Thought for years I had allergies. No, my nose is just very hypersensitive to strong smells. That's why you could never pin down what the allergy was, because there really isn't one. All of that kind of leads to kind of a supercharged empathy. I can read emotions pretty well. Don't know what they mean half the time and don't know what to do about them. Don't always understand why people are feeling certain ways, and that's an autistic trait, I guess. And so I get it. Okay, I get it. The hypersensitivity, like I've had several points in my life where I was all this, bright light, very sensitive to heat. My body does not like hot weather. I get far better off in the cold, which makes sense because one of the ways of calming your senses down as an autistic person is your hypersensitivity is cold. Okay, the cold baths are in classrooms, and for me, just grabbing an ice pack and throwing it in the middle of the chest this summer was just a big boon of understanding that allowed me to feel better about life and everything. And so, Christianity never gave me either the autism or the hypersensitivity thing. It just said, oh, you're a sinner, you're just weird, you need to pray to God forgive you. There's nothing wrong with me. Okay, and that's the real breakthrough for therapy in those two things that never really happened, because that leads to number three, because I suddenly realized that my depression and my anxiety are far more related to autism and hypersensitivity than anything else. And Christianity could never give me that. Okay, Christianity would never tell me any of these three things. Okay, the big thing about all three of them so far, and I got two more, is that how can Christianity give you that? Oh, you're just a sinner, you just need to pray and keep praying. And if the prayer fails, well, then God doesn't want you to have it. So God's always off the hook, and it's always my failure. Okay, which is a great way to have an abusive relationship. Well, now that I've got out from under that, getting the secular therapist to kind of say, hey, Ed, I think you're autistic. Why don't you consider it? Go look it up, do some research. Maybe your hypersensitivity is really affecting your moods. This is why you get anxious. This is why you get depressed. That's why you get into these crisis moments. Like when I talk about my deconversion story, I have several crisis moments where it's probably a combination of autism, hypersensitivity, and just way too much negative emotional experience, like the death of my father, just too overwhelming. And had I known it was autism and hypersensitivity back then, I could have managed that and probably got out of that a lot quicker. Christianity, praying for comfort from God, never did that, okay, because God isn't there to give me comfort. The Christian God just doesn't exist, and he's not there to help me. But this helps me. In the last year, I've just learned to manage my moods a lot better. I'm still struggle. Recently I just had an attack of the blues, and I just fought my way through it. It's just like it happens. I still deal with loneliness because I live by myself, and I still want a partner, but nothing's happened yet so far. So it's like I'm learning to manage those lonely blues types things with the hypersensitivity And it helps me make sure that the hypersensitivity isn't the thing that's really affecting my moods. Number 4, that being myself is okay and not sinful. This is a great thing. Okay. All your life, Christianity tells you that you're a sinner in need of God's grace, that you're no good, that you're garbage. And secular therapy flipped that a little bit and said, yeah, you've got your problems. You do make mistakes. We're human. But it's okay to be a human being and have human desires. It's okay to want something. It's okay to have a sexual desire towards somebody. It's okay to have all these other desires that you want. You're human. It's not okay to get them out of certain boundaries that society finds acceptable, but it is okay to have them. Okay, and that's something that I really, throughout the 4 years, I think now of therapy, minus the 1.5 years I was in Texas, this is one thing that every session has taught me, that it's okay to be myself. It's okay, it's all right to be me, and that's been absolutely beneficial. It's okay to accept the fact that I'm an atheist. It's okay to accept the fact that I'm a secularist and a humanist and, a naturalist. Okay, it's okay for me to accept those things. It's okay for me to accept that I'm autistic and that there's a hypersensitivity. Those aren't things that are wrong with me. Those are either opportunities or obstacles that I got to navigate through, and therapy helps me navigate those obstacles. And so eventually I'm just okay with being me. And I've come to the attention that it's okay. I'm going to be myself, and whoever comes into my life has to also accept me for me, because I'm just not going to accept any kind of falsity anymore. I just don't have time for that. And that leads me to the 4th one, which is that sunk cost fallacy also applies to relationships. As somebody who knows quite a bit about economics, I discovered that sunk cost fallacy is when you look at all the time and energy and stuff you put into something, and even though it's not giving you any value right now, you hold on to it because you feel that it's important, even though it's not. It's actually more of a liability than an asset to you anymore. And as much as I knew that was true from taking economics courses and learning about sunk cost fallacy, I suddenly began to realize that sunk cost fallacy applied to my relationships. I lost a lot of friends leaving the faith. Sunk cost fallacy. They weren't real friends. Okay, real friends don't care what you believe. Okay, in the end, me and my ex-wife, had to part company because, there's 32 years invested there, but including 3 years at the end trying to make it work. But if it's not working and it's not beneficial to either one of us, it's time to cut ties. And, certain family members over the years, I've done that too, but I never realized until I was taking secular therapy how beneficial it is to really look at, can my relationship hold up? Okay, can my relationship, does it provide me any current value or benefit? And because that didn't really seem to be the case anymore for a lot of those relationships, the more I evaluated relationships, the more I cut ties with people. If there's no value to it anymore, I've learned the value of giving up those relationships. And a lot of times in therapy sessions, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, is this relationship valuable? Is this something I need to keep? Now, for me, family, I don't give up on. I don't consider, to me, that's a positive benefit for me all the time. I love my kids. I love my grandkids, my mom. All those things are not worth giving up to me. Okay, so none of those relationships are abusive. They're not detrimental to me, and they actually provide some benefit. And as long as that's true, it's okay. It's when relationships start to go downhill that they become a problem, and secular therapy taught me that. Christianity would have told me to cut relationships like a lot of my friends did with me because, they no longer believe, so therefore you need to cut them off. It's not necessarily, there's no cost-benefit relationship there. There's no considering whether it's a sunk cost thing or not. For me, they left me. I never, it's funny because I don't think I ever unfriended. I think Just as an example, on Facebook, I think I've unfriended 6 people in my entire time on there, and a lot of people have unfriended me, but I can tell you that. But it's kind of one of those weird things where I just learned from secular therapy that relationships should have a value to them, and if they don't have a value to them, if they're not beneficial to you and the other person, then sunk cost fallacy can be the issue, and you need to address it. Well, those are the 5 things that I feel that secular therapy was far more effective and actually helped me where Christianity failed to help me. For some of you that are struggling through this deconversion process, maybe some of those insights can help you. To all my autistic brothers and sisters out there, keep going. I know I am too. I'm struggling at times, but if my struggles can help you, I'm more than happy to let you do that. So thank you very much. Once again, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate every single one of you. Like, share, comment, do the things that you do. Join the nation. Hit that subscribe button, or hit the join button if you want to buy your citizenship into the Rabyd Nation. There'll soon be more and more benefits to that as time goes by, I'm sure, including some of you who want to see videos before they're actually going to premiere. So thank you for those of you that keep doing the things that you do. You make this channel notice. So appreciated. Remember to live your best life. Go forward. You only get one go around, and so don't waste your time, your money, your opportunities on the trappings of faith and religion, because that's a dead end, and I speak from experience. So thank you once again for stopping by. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll catch you next time.